Welcome to Vocational Rehabilitation Independent Living Services, a case study. In order to be as effective as possible, it is important for you to have hands-on learning as well. This PowerPoint will basically do a walkthrough of each case status with independent living. This is the basic information that we're going to utilize for our client. Feel free to be as creative as possible. So right now, what you'll see on this slide is again the generic information, and we're going to go ahead and get started. You should each have this as a separate handout, whether you're utilizing it electronically or you decided to print it down. Keep it handy as it will guide you through the steps for independent living VR cases. Sometimes when you're working through various types of case types, such as independent living and traditional VR, the differences are substantial. So you want to be able to make sure that you provide appropriate information and are able to code things correctly. Each client is placed in the system systematically, meaning everyone is going to have the same referral process initially from demographics to the referral form. The importance of the referral form is to designate which program this individual is initially going to be served from. On the next page, you'll see a screenshot of what the target group should be for independent living. You'll notice the target group pictured here is independent living services. It is how we will indicate who we are planning to serve, and this will provide the necessary forms once it is in the appropriate target group. How to move a case from referral or 00 to status 70. You'll see where the blue area where you're going to click to add a new form. Double click there. And you'll see right at the top, application for IL services, or you could filter and it will pull up application for independent living services. Double click there. And here you'll see where the application reflects the client's name and the last four of their social. It goes over the rights and understandings about the client, and it also talks about the client handbook as well as the client assistance program. Once it's dated, you'll see it moves into application status, status 70. Once an individual is in status 70 or application for independent living services, we'll need to go ahead and pull in our financial resources form. We'll use the blue bar to pull in that form. So we're going to filter for ILRS, and we'll see our ILRS RS16 Financial Resources form here. So you'll complete this, and usually an individual will receive SSDI or SSI. So you will complete the form in its entirety. I won't do it here for training purposes. This is just so that we can move to the next section. So once our financial resources form is complete so that we can determine if the individual meets our criteria, we need to go in and pull in what's called a case information. And the case information form just captures information for our 9/11 data. And so we'll need to make sure that we have all the information entered here. This information should have been entered into our demographics and our referral specifics, but if not, then we'll need to go ahead and complete it here. These items will be grayed out as we have not yet begun to provide any services. Status 71, closure from application status. Basically, at this particular time, we're going to close this individual ineligible from application for a variety of reasons. If we have not pulled in our ILRS case information form, we'll need to go to the blue bar and pull it in. And remember, this form is for 9/11 reporting, and it captures information in the background. All of this would have pre-populated had we submitted that information within the demographics and the referral specifics area. But in order for us to get to our certificate of eligibility and ineligibility, this form must be here. So we'll go back to the blue bar and we will pull in our ILRS certificate of eligibility and ineligibility under the form section. So you'll see the name, and if all of these were Y, meaning they met all three of these criteria, it would have us eligible for independent living services. If they do not meet all of these criteria, this is how they are determined ineligible. So if at any point any of these are no, it will automatically point to ineligible, and you need to put in what your decision was based on. And then you date it, and that individual will move to status 71. Status 72, eligible for independent living services. You've already provided the information for the financial resources form, and you've obtained any necessary assessment to deem that individual eligible. You're going to go back to your blue bar, and you are going to pull in that case information form. Remember, ILRS case information. We need that form for reporting purposes on who is serving and where these individuals reside. So once we have that case information form in and completed in its entirety, what you're going to want to do is go back to that blue bar again, and you're going to pull in your certificate for eligibility, and that will be under forms. All of the criteria here have to be yes in order to move that individual to the next stage. The limitations from the impairment constitutes a substantial impediment to independent living. The disability constitutes or results in a substantial limitation to the independent living and/or employment. There's a reasonable expectation that independent living services may significantly assist the individual to improve his or her ability to function independently in family or community. And so once all of those are yes, you will see eligible here, and then you'll date your certificate, and that will move that individual to status 72. Status 70 is a little different with independent living services as it encompasses eligibility as well as our plan development. So once we've certified an individual eligible for independent living services, we're ready to pull in our plan. And so we'll go to the blue bar and we'll pull in our independent living plan. And you'll see the name self-populated, the IL goals, and there is a drop-down box for that. And usually it's self-sufficiency or self-support are our top two, and we chose self-sufficiency in this particular instance. See the plan dates, counseling. So we'll add in our service detail and what we're going to be counseling about. Counseling referral automatically populates. And then we can add a service as necessary. And usually that's going to be our paid for service here. And independent living services are pretty specific. So we'll do vehicle modifications and we'll just have to double click that to add. And so you'll complete the vendor, service dates, and price, and how we're going to pay for the service as well. Achievement of goals, and that's going to be dependent on how many counseling related goals you chose up top. Right now we only have one counseling goal, and so that's all that's going to populate for us to choose here. What do they need for independence? We're going to click yes or no for these individual areas, and usually it's only one of these items, 2 at the most. What does the client say? Services will greatly improve my ability to live independently, and this will probably be pretty generic for the most part. Everybody wants to be able to stay at home and move about in the community as much as possible. How am I going to evaluate this progress? Again, there is a drop-down box here, and you choose how that evaluation will occur. In this instant, we're going to talk about the client satisfaction with the device, how they're able to utilize their vehicle. And then there is an opportunity for the individual to sign the plan along with the counselor, and the status will remain 72. And then you go in and complete your status 72 narrative. It does not auto-populate, but it is here for you to complete. And again, it's pretty simple. Just go in and complete the areas here. Status 73, closure from active status, meaning services not completed whether the individual was deceased and we were unable to provide services, or they just were no longer necessary for a variety of reasons. We'll go into the blue bar and we'll pull in what's called the progress closure report. So once you pull that in, you'll see the goals and the service detail here. There's usually not a need to put in any progress here because we also have a case note where we'll know any issues. All the plan for services have been completely provided on, and you'll date that. And here's where we're going to put our information as far as no, we were unable to complete these things. The level of independence stayed the same or decreased. And so if it decreased, you'll be able to get into these particular areas. Let's click on that and just see. Okay, so you'll see if it's decreased, what happened. Let's just say the help diminished. And so they still had access to transportation, but the rest of this they did not. Reason for closure, and let's just say they withdrew, and you date both of these areas. And you'll see our status changes to 73, and we'll complete that case note as to the reason why. Status 74, closure from active status. All services have been provided. Woohoo! So we're going to go back to the blue bar where we add new forms, and we're going to filter for our closure report. I'm going to pop that into the ECF. And again, you'll see here where we have our goals, and we're going to go ahead and put our outcome as completed. Then you're going to put the date there. And you'll do that for any service that you have on the particular plan. All the plan services have been completely provided. You go ahead and date that, and it'll ask you for these items here. Continues to use the majority of acquired skills. Yep. The level of independence is going to have increased because we provided assistive technology, whatever it is that we're providing for that individual. Okay. So since they didn't need that, I'm going to put no and yes for assistive technology. One or more of their goals have been achieved, and it will automatically populate that when you tap that out. Closure date. And we have some edit checks that popped up because we didn't complete our demographics fully, and we did not complete our referral specifics completely. I'm going to ignore that because this is just for training purposes. The client will agree to closure after we date and approve. And that will lead you to status 74, successfully closed. One of the most asked questions that I receive is, how do I filter my clients? How do I know how many individuals I have and where they are? Well, what you'll do is you'll open your file drawer, and in the PDQs, you'll put in program, and you're looking for view open/close clients by program. So when you double click that, give it just a second, and the program code list, pop that open, and you'll see IL, ODHI, or as we like to call it, SDHH now, vocational rehabilitation. And so if we're going to be looking for just our independent living cases, we'll double click that. And we only want the open ones at this particular time. And you'll repeat that action for each program that you are looking to view, and it should only open up those cases that are currently open.